My parents always saw my brother, a brilliant surgeon, as the golden child. Me, I was just a nurse. This phrase echoed through my childhood, a constant reminder of my perceived inadequacy. Even when I graduated top of my class from nursing school, their praise was lukewarm. "It's a good, stable job for a woman," my mother would say, "but your brother, he saves lives." My brother, David, never corrected them. He'd just give me a sympathetic shrug, basking in their adoration. I poured my heart into my work, specializing in neonatal intensive care. The tiny, fragile lives I helped nurture became my purpose. I developed a new protocol for preterm infant care, a method that significantly reduced mortality rates in our unit. It was groundbreaking work, born from sleepless nights and tireless dedication. I published my findings, presented at conferences, and slowly, the medical community started to take notice. While my parents were busy framing every article written about David, I was quietly revolutionizing my field. Then, the letter arrived. It was from the National Medical Board, inviting me to the annual awards ceremony. I had been nominated for the prestigious Nightingale Award for Innovation in Patient Care. I was speechless. This was the highest honor in my profession. For a moment, I allowed myself to believe this would finally be enough for them. This would make them see me. When I told my parents, my father barely looked up from his newspaper. "Oh, that's nice, dear, a nursing award." My mother forced a smile. "We'll be there, of course. We have to support you." Support felt like the wrong word. It felt more like an obligation, another family event to be endured. The contrast was stark. When David won a regional award for surgical excellence 2 years prior, they'd thrown a lavish party and talked about it for months. My national award earned a brief nod. The night of the ceremony was a blur of fancy dresses and polite applause. I sat at a table with my parents and David. They spent most of the time talking to a colleague of my father's, boasting about David's latest surgical conquest. "He's a true artist in the operating room," my father beamed. I felt a familiar knot tighten in my stomach. I was invisible. When my name was called, I walked to the stage in a daze. The applause was a distant roar. I looked out at the crowd, my eyes searching for my family. My mother was clapping politely, a strained smile on her face. My father was looking at his watch. David offered a small, almost imperceptible nod. It was in that moment, under the bright stage lights, holding this incredible honor, that the full weight of their indifference crashed down on me. I started my acceptance speech, my voice trembling slightly. "Thank you to the board for this incredible honor." I spoke about my passion for neonatal care, about the tiny fighters I had the privilege of knowing. Then, I looked directly at my family's table. Growing up, I said, my voice gaining strength, I was often told that I was just a nurse, that my work was somehow less significant, less impactful. A murmur went through the audience. I saw my mother's smile falter. My father finally looked up, a frown creasing his brow. "But I stand here tonight to say that there is no such thing as just a nurse. We are the hands that comfort, the eyes that watch through the night, the advocates who fight for our patients when they cannot. We are innovators, leaders, and the very backbone of healthcare." The applause was thunderous this time, a wave of support from my peers who understood. My heart swelled with pride, not just for the award, but for my profession. I continued, "This award is not just for me. It's for every nurse who has ever been made to feel less than. It's a testament to the fact that compassion and innovation can change the world, one tiny life at a time." And to my family, I paused, letting the words hang in the air. "I hope one day you'll see that." I walked off the stage, feeling lighter than I had in years. I had finally spoken my truth. Back at the table, the silence was thick enough to cut with a knife. My mother avoided my gaze, fussing with her napkin. My father's face was a mask of cold fury. "How could you embarrass us like that?" he hissed, his voice low. "In front of all these people? My colleagues." "I didn't embarrass you," I replied calmly. I told the truth. Before he could retort, the final and most prestigious award of the evening was announced, the Lifetime Achievement Award for Medical Ethics. The presenter, a distinguished-looking man, began to speak. "This year's recipient is a surgeon whose career has spanned for decades. However, the board has recently uncovered a series of grave ethical breaches, including the falsification of research data and performing unsanctioned experimental procedures. A collective gasp went through the room. My blood ran cold, the presenter continued. These actions have not only compromised patient safety, but have also betrayed the sacred trust placed in our profession. The board has made the unanimous decision to revoke his medical license, effective immediately. This award is being presented posthumously to his career, as a stark reminder that no one is above the principles of medical ethics. My father was sneering. Who could be so foolish? He muttered to my mother. Then the presenter's voice boomed through the speakers. And so, with a heavy heart, the board calls to the stage Dr. Robert Maxwell, Pitts. The world seemed to slow down. The color drained from my father's face. He looked like a statue, frozen in disbelief. My mother let out a small, strangled cry. All heads in the grand hall turned towards our table. The spotlight that had been on the stage now swung, cruelly, to illuminate my father's horrified expression. He was no longer the proud patriarch, the celebrated doctor. He was a fraud, exposed in the most public and humiliating way possible. David looked utterly devastated, his hero worship shattering before his eyes. But I felt nothing. No joy, no satisfaction, just a profound and empty sadness. All those years I had craved his approval, his respect. I had measured my worth against an impossible standard set by a man who, it turned out, had no integrity of his own. He didn't go to the stage. He just sat there, as security guards began to walk towards our table. I stood up. My mother grabbed my arm, her eyes pleading. "Don't leave us," she whispered. I looked at her, then at my father, and finally at David. For the first time, I wasn't looking for their approval. I was just looking at them, seeing them for who they truly were. "Off to go," I said softly, pulling my arm away. I walked out of that ballroom, leaving the wreckage of my family's legacy behind. The weight of just a nurse was gone. I wasn't just a nurse, I was a damn good one. And for the first time in my life, that was more than enough. My own validation was the only award I ever truly needed. Thank you for watching.